Warning, while this podcast is called Harry Potter and the First Time Readers, this specific season, season 2, is with a second time reader. More like a 1.5 reader, we just talked about that. Lizzy has kind of forgotten a lot of what happened in Harry Potter, and we are just rereading it and talking about it with a few of the endgame things in mind. So if you do not want any spoilers on your first time read, go listen to season 1. Season 1 is completely spoiler free. Season 2 will probably have a few spoilers in it, even from the get-go. So you have been warned. Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
I'm Lizzy.
And this is Harry Potter and the second time reader. I really have to make an emphasis on that.
The second time.
The second time reader. All right, so we are in chapter 6, 7, 8, and 9. So
good stuff.
Let's go a quick summary of all these, and then we'll talk about some main points. Chapter 6 is the journey from platform 9 3/4. Do you remember what that's about?
So Harry gets dropped off by the Dursleys in the train station, and they are laughing at him. They think he's crazy. There's no such thing as platform 9 3/4.
Which is cruel.
Yes. He luckily runs into the Weasleys.
Yeah.
And they all make it happily to Hogwarts.
Yeah, it's great. It's a lovely chapter.
So good.
The train chapters were always some of my favorite ones because it was like Harry's real journey to Hogwarts. I love the train chapters. I love a good train. Chapter 7 is the Sorting Hat.
I love a good train. You like the guy with the camera on his head.
Yeah. TikTok. I was just about to say that. That guy's a legend.
I don't think there's anyone who doesn't love that guy.
I know, yeah. He's a national treasure. He's great. Chapter 7 is the Sorting Hat.
About his passion. Man.
Well, some people actually think it's like a double life that guy lives. Like some people think he just does it. It's like an act. He's like an actor. He has like a normal life, and people saw him like a club sad. Or something. I know. I'm like, that is tragic.
Yeah, imagine he's actually like a super cool dude.
Yeah, I know. That'd be
Everybody
so lame.
wants him.
It'd be so lame.
Whatever.
Chapter 7, the Sorting Hat.
They put the hat on. It sings its song. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yep.
You get to know who you are.
And then Harry kind of like goes through the castle a little bit. He meets Peeves, the Poltergeist, some of the ghosts.
Peeves. Hate Peeves.
I know. Peeves is so annoying.
Peeves the worst.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to ask you what you think Peeves is, because that's a question that I think about all the time. I kind of know what it is now, but it was so confusing.
All of the ghosts to me look like Casper.
Oh,
They're
really?
all just Casper. And then the Baron has a little top hat like on the side of his head, but it's like way too small. They're
like the shape of Casper. They're like, that's so cute. That's so
And
great.
then Moaning Myrtle.
How do you differentiate them?
Well, they have their little, it's like when you draw a stick figure and you add like one little identifier. Peeves is like, I think is a bow tie.
Oh, I love that. Well,
am I
Peeves
wrong?
isn't a ghost. And this is a question. We'll talk about this in a bit, but Peeves is something weird. We're gonna talk about what Peeves is.
The Poltergeist. I remember Googling that.
Yeah, and when you Google it, it still doesn't really tell you what the heck a poltergeist is. So I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Well, the next chapter 8, is the Potions Master.
Snape.
Evil Snape.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear what your opinion of Snape is, because that's a really divisive one.
He's interesting. We'll get there.
Really interesting, yeah. And then chapter 9 is the Midnight Duel. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. That was so dumb.
I know.
Idiots.
They're so stupid.
They're like 11?
Yeah, they're such 11-year-old boys.
Like, we'll
trying
die.
to square off. Yeah. Ron's like, I'll be your second if you die. You know, like he knows that they're not, but what a dope. What a bunch of dopes.
Middle schoolers.
I know. Okay. So in the intro chapter for this one, chapter 6, the journey from platform 9 3/4. It always annoys me. There's a few things that annoy me, but Hagrid, first of all, doesn't show Harry how to get onto the platform, which is a little annoying. And then the Dursleys laughing at Harry and just leaving is so cruel.
Yeah, because I'm like, wouldn't you just rather wait and not have to make 2 trips when
For real?
he like doesn't get to his place?
I know.
Like, let's optimize here.
I know.
I don't know, because I think a lot of this parallels college in a way of like where you're just like wandering around trying to find your classes in the beginning.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
So it's not so far-fetched to me. I think it's crazy that they're 11, but like I think there's been some experience where like everybody navigates something for the first time and they don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to wander around and make wrong turns and get there.
But that's if magic doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's if there's not like a wall.
Yeah,
That's
they have to go through an invisible wall. Or a visible wall that is kind of invisible.
But Hagrid doesn't he doesn't get that Harry doesn't get it, I think.
Yeah. Here's another one for you. When you pictured where this wall takes you, did you see it taking them to another dimension or to like just like a lower platform or something like that? Like where does
I think I'm like
them?
fully messed up on what the train station looks like.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. But to me it's a brick wall.
Yeah.
Which is it a brick wall?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So then they go through the brick wall, but then they like pass through it and there's just like this space behind it opens up in a way.
Nice. Yeah.
And then it's like that. But that space isn't just that space is like the entire train is there, and it's like just platform 9 3/4 is like a mile long.
Yeah. That's kind of what my perception of it is too.
Yeah.
Some people think that like you pass through this thing and it like it's like brings you into a different realm, and that like realm transports you to Hogwarts, which I don't like that much. It's like too
because it all exists in like the human world, right?
Yeah. That's why I want it to be like the way that we're describing, because I want it all to exist in the human world.
We're right.
Yeah, we're right.
Of course.
Everyone else is wrong.
Yep.
What is your first impression of the Weasleys?
I think they're very normal. Like they're just a nice family.
They're great though.
Bunch of siblings. I love them. I think they're all very caring for each other. You can tell that they actually have a bond and they love each other. And I think also like they know their place. Like the twins know how to joke around enough where they can push like all the right buttons, but like not fully get wrecked by their parents.
Yeah.
Which I think is like so great. Like everyone loves doing that.
They know how to.
I love doing that.
Yeah, they know how to like stay on that line really well.
Yeah.
Like push their buttons just enough. But they're such good characters. This time that I'm reading it with the season 1 crew, they're like two of my favorite characters, Fred and George. They're so brilliant. They're so cool.
I would say me too.
Yeah.
But I think also it's so contrasted with the animosity of Harry and Dudley.
Yeah.
That you get this like sense of relief at seeing like a nice functioning family. I mean, they're functioning, they're crazy, but they're like not dysfunctional.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're all over the place, but you love that about the Weasleys. Like there's a description of their house in book 2 that it like feels like everything is being held together by magic, and I feel like that's the same thing with the family too.
Yeah.
Like they're being held together by magic in some way. They're a great family. I love them so much.
And they just like fully welcome Harry. She gets him through the wall. That's awesome. I
know. What a good mom.
So good. Love her.
So when they're on the train, there's a assortment of snacks that they get to eat. Bertie Bott's every flavor beans. So really the question is, which one would you want to eat? Bertie Bott's every flavor beans, Drubel's best chewing gum, chocolate frogs, pumpkin pasties, or pasties. Everyone.
Is that just pumpkin pie?
I kind of think so.
I just imagine them like miniature.
Yeah, like mini pumpkin pies. Yeah,
yeah. Like pies. I don't know.
I know, that's kind of what I think of them too. But I don't know. Maybe they're different. I don't know. Then there's cauldron cakes and licorice wands. Which one would you want?
Okay, let me narrow it down first. Chocolate frogs are on the list of things I would eat.
Okay.
I think I'm passing the pumpkin. I've had the beans.
Okay.
No bueno.
I have some Bertie Bott's every flavor beans in my office. I'll bring them next time. We'll
what's
chow
the
down.
cauldron one?
Cauldron cakes.
No, that does not sound good. That sounds like something Hagrid would make.
Yeah, like he makes rock cakes.
Yeah, cauldron cakes sound a little hard and like like you failed at making bread. I'm going with chocolate frogs. I think.
All right.
Like
big
why not?
Fan? Yeah.
Or the gum. I'm actually on a big gum kick right now. I'm gonna give myself TMJ. But that or frogs. Frogs are like a medical cure. So.
Huh?
Like the chocolate frogs. Lupin,
oh yeah.
Coming in clutch.
That's actually that's a great point. I thought you were gonna go on like a rant about, because you're like environmentalist, going a rant about like how frogs are like a natural cure for all these things.
No, but do you know that the poison frogs, they collect their poison by eating other poison frogs? So it's this big like rat king dynamic. What? Yeah. I'm pretty sure. You might have to Google me and fact check that, but I just saw like a funny video about.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So it's like the most poisonous frog is just the king of the jungle.
I believe so, but could also be wrong. And then my last fact of environmental science, because you said what animal would I like to be?
Yeah.
And this is also going to segue into my question. But there's a big environmental science joke that you want to be a mayfly.
Okay.
Do you know the life cycle of a mayfly at all? They live for like one day and they like erupt out of the water in this giant volcano of just like flies, and they mate and then they die. Like they're alive for like less than a day. So people go like, it's actually so sad. It's like really depressing joke, but everybody in environmental science like, I want to be a mayfly. And Hosier says it, love Hosier. In one of his songs, he's like mentions a mayfly. But every time somebody says that, I'm like, you okay, bro? Like
you going through something?
Yeah, you good? One day. But if you don't have a pet owl, do you just not get mail?
No.
Or can you like rent an owl?
Yeah, I think you can rent an owl.
Okay.
Because there's at the Owlry. Yeah. There's actually, I'm going to show you this illustration at least. In the Owlry, Jim K did this illustration of like all the different owls. And I think Harry goes to it one time. And there's like day deliveries, which are smaller owls. And there's long deliveries, which are like bigger owls that can like do long trips a little easier than small owls.
Is Hedwig a big owl?
Yeah. Snowy owls are big.
What I thought.
But apparently there's like a really funny gag on this one guy called Brennan Lee Mulligan. He talks about how it's cruel that with the wizarding world pick the slowest bird to deliver mail. Like owls are the slowest bird out of all birds, I believe.
But they're silent.
They're completely silent, which is the coolest thing about them.
That's so good if you're trying to not get found.
Yeah, absolutely. Like recon eat like mail. It's like the best.
And they're super sensitive to like seeing and being aware of things.
I haven't seen an owl in so long. I love owls so much. I haven't seen one in the wild in a long time though.
You know what animal I hate? Bats.
Yeah, bats are the worst.
I'm like genuinely afraid of them.
Really?
I scream when I see bats. Yeah.
We used to have, because I lived in like an old, super old house growing up, and we would have bats that would come in all the time, and you would just like hear them all of a sudden in the middle of the night, like their little screeches, and we would either try to catch them or like block up their holes so they couldn't go in, but they would all go in these little like beams that we had, and it was awful. It was terrible. We used to have mice and we used to have bats come in our house all the time, and it was awful.
Yikes. We used to throw tennis balls and baseballs up in the air to get them to come.
Really?
Because they swoop at those things that
That's
you throw.
Crazy. I didn't even know that.
Echolocate. But then I saw these like 6-foot wingspan bats. I don't know if they were that big. I was a child I think at a zoo or at Disney, and the switch flipped and I said, nope, not into that. And then ever since then, hate them. Terrifying. And then like one time I was kayaking at night.
Ugh.
And then the other time I was canoeing at night, and they're everywhere. And I'm like, I'm gonna die in this little pond.
Yeah, bats are not cool animals. They're so ugly too. You like snakes, but you don't like bats. Interesting. Weird.
They seem like they're in the same realm of like weird creatures.
This is kind of the spirit animal question, but do you know what your Patronus is?
I think it's a dolphin.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I don't know, because I read the thing and it was like, this is the most average one that everyone in the whole world gets. And I was like so annoyed.
No, it's not that. You like fish. Dolphin's kind of a fish, so there you go.
Just like Google real quick, what's the most popular Patronus? Because it was whatever that one was. And I'm not so sure it was a dolphin. I could also probably Google it, like search it in our old messages. Because no way I've ever texted the word Patronus other than that.
If you looked at my messages for Patronus, it would come up all the time.
You sent me the link. You can find out your house, what your wand is, your Patronus, and what house you'll be in Ilvermorny, American school. That was you.
Thanks. That's a good impression of me.
I said, LOL, that's the one. I just did it, and it said Gryffindor. If that's the best one, we'll go with that. Hee hee. And you go, yeah, you've got some bravery too. Solid Gryffindor. And my Patronus is a dolphin.
That's a cool Patronis though.
You know people who have got a pigeon or something weird?
Yeah.
But
a pigeon, I get people who get a pigeon a lot of times. A lot of people get bunnies.
I don't understand what cultivates the Patronus. Like, what is the influence?
The website is I think it's like a sham. I think it just kind of randomly gives you an animal.
Because I don't feel necessarily average or normal. And I got the most boring normal one.
But a dolphin's like one of the coolest animals in the animal kingdom.
No, I'm happy with it. I just don't like the description of it. What is yours? What did you say?
A fox.
Yeah, that's sick.
That's the coolest one. I'm so pumped that I got a fox.
Pretty sick.
But I also did sometimes take the quiz like 20 times in order to get a fox. So it's probably definitely fake.
Well, I have another email address. After I reread the series, I'm planning to do it again.
That'll be your real one.
I hate that it only lets you do it once.
Yeah, I know.
But in a way, I stand with it because if they got the sorting hat done when they're like 11, I could take the test my first time. Because second time around, I'm going to be thinking through things so much more. Yeah,
agreed.
And I think it's a little bit more organic if you just do it at the beginning.
Well, that's actually an interesting point. Even for the next chapter, which is the sorting hat, the way that they're sorted to me is a little strange. Like there's, I feel like this all-knowing hat is kind of cool, but then it sorts people wrongly. This is like the whole idea in personality theory that you never really want to give a personality test to a young kid because it kind of like typecasts them. They like think that this is what they are and they just like live up to it, rather than when you're older and you have the wisdom to know like this doesn't completely encapsulate who I am. I'm like, you know, I can go outside the bounds of these things. Like I'm not always like this in different situations. It helps you understand yourself, but there's things beyond that. It's the same thing for like you get typecast in the Slytherin and you're like, oh, great.
Am I evil?
Yeah. No. But it's like the ambitious house. So I guess there's...
What makes you think it sorts people wrong?
I don't think it sorts people wrong.
You just said that.
I know, I did just say that. Well, I said it for two reasons. Because Dumbledore thinks that with Snape. He says, perhaps we sort too early. And there's theories.
That's not necessarily wrong.
Yeah, it's not necessarily wrong. But it also... Yeah,
who did he say
definitely
that
not wrong
about? Perhaps we sort too early.
Do you remember who he said that to? I don't know if I want to spoil that for you.
Oh my goodness. Can we get like a book?
He says that in the last book.
Oh no, no.
I'm gonna keep that from you. But there's an interesting, even when we were doing this, if you were to sort people and you didn't have the sorting hat, the sorting hat's not wrong because it's omniscient, but to some extent it is maybe a little bit wrong. I think it's reading your present. I don't think it reads too much into your future, which I think is limiting on it. So if you were to sort people, how would you sort people?
Based on looks. Socioeconomic status. I don't know.
Like, the caste system.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
I know.
How would I sort these particular wizarding children?
Well, even I know some people have said like you give them a test. I don't like the idea of a test because there's some people who are good at tests or some people who are bad at tests.
I would just like ask the parents.
Yeah. What house do you think your kid is in?
I would think they'd know.
There's bias behind that though. It's like that. I don't like that much because, you know, your parents, they want what's best for you, but sometimes they're vicariously living through you. Like I vicariously live through people who read this for the first time again. Huh?
What if the parents went to Hogwarts?
Sorry, the parents went to Hogwarts, but let's say the parents went to Hogwarts and both of them are in a particular house. They're both in Gryffindor. And the kid that they have is really in Slytherin, but they're like, we can never put him in Slytherin because we hate Slytherin. So they tell the school, put my child in Gryffindor. And the kid really belongs in Slytherin.
I think the only rivalry between houses is Slytherin and everyone else, though.
And there's a little bit.
When you take people like the Malfoys, they want their kid to be in Slytherin.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the Slytherin in you is the person that's like, I can be that. Like, I am that. And then you're like not afraid to go against the grain. You like the little bit of extra like
absolutely
chip on your shoulder. Like I can be nasty. Because in the beginning, Slytherins aren't really that nasty. I think I realized that they're annoying at the Quidditch Cup.
Yeah.
Because then they're all like hissing at Harry when they walk by, and that did it for me. I was like, no, don't identify with those people
they're a little
anymore.
gross. They're a little weird.
But yeah, I feel like ask them. Just have a conversation. I don't know.
Talk it out.
Like what? What is the hat even looking at?
I know, that's a really interesting question.
Because you're 11. Doing. Exactly. When have you shown bravery? When have you been manipulative?
Manipulative isn't a trait of a house.
Slytherin
is ambition.
All right. Can we read the little poem that it sings?
I know. I can't even find that. I'll find that another time.
That's easy.
Yeah, the little song that it sings is actually pretty cute.
I remember being very unbothered by that the first time I read it. I just thought it was so annoying.
What, the song?
Yeah.
Really?
I hated the Sorting Hat. I was skimming through it because it just annoyed me.
Really?
Yeah.
It gives some actually interesting information in that. And later in different books, it gives a lot of valuable information for. It's like in a weird way, it's like a future teller.
Well, I don't think that I didn't mind the actual song. I think that's very explanatory and helpful. But I think what annoyed me was just the process of going through everyone. Why do we need to be doing this? There was some other scene that really. Oh, Dobby. I can't wait to talk about Dobby in the next book. I have so many thoughts because I fervently hated Dobby the first time.
Yeah.
Dobby dies.
Yeah. Dobby's and you were okay with that?
I was.
Interesting. I'm so curious what your second time read is going to be and how you perceive Dobby and how you think of him. I didn't love him on the first read. And when I read it now, it chokes me up every time he dies.
I'm not there yet. Love is a far-fetched word. But I mean, it was excruciating for me to read about Dobby the first time. I was skimming. I was like, I can't.
In the second book, he is so annoying.
But that's another story for another day.
Yeah, we'll get there in the second book. Give me your impression of Dumbledore because I wanted to talk about this for a while. You don't like him that much.
It's not that I don't like him. I just don't think he is the best he could be for everyone. I feel like he could be more open with what he's going through. Not in a therapy way, but in this is what I know about this. Because even Harry was catching on to this in the Sorcerer's Stone where he's like, did Dumbledore just give me enough where I could actually get through this on my own, and giving him the invisibility cloak and stuff. So I don't know. I think if he sat him down, he gave more information out. I don't like these little lies. I don't like the withholding things. It just there's an aura of distrust that I have with him.
That's so interesting because you're supposed to kind of just automatically trust him because he just seems like this omniscient character. But I love that there's a little, you can see the Slytherin in you. You have automatic distrust to this person because they're telling you to trust in me. Well, because they don't really give you all the information.
That's how I fully approached the book at the beginning.
Yeah.
Was everything is not as it seems.
Yeah.
Dumbledore is not.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because that's even in the beginning of this. So even the first book you see this, that he kind of spoon feeds Harry certain information, but he keeps certain information away. And he's this omniscient source, and he's maybe the only one that really thinks that he is should be trusted with some of this information, because he doesn't give all of it to Harry. Even when I just spoiled in the last podcast when he died.
Whatever.
So even after he dies, Harry has this existential crisis of Dumbledore is not necessarily all that he was made out to be.
I can't wait to remember how he dies.
I know, it's gonna be great. Oh my gosh, I love that you don't remember that. I'm bummed I spoiled that for you.
It'll get there, but right now I can't just pull it out of.
Yeah. You'll come to it real quick, I think. One reason I love this series too is because I don't think there's necessarily flat characters in this. And I could explain the reasons why I think Dumbledore is the way that he is. Like, I don't necessarily think there's any flat characters. Sometimes I used to think there were like, like this character is only like this, But every time I talk about the series with certain people, and especially if they love a character, like I never really gave Lupin that much thought until I talked about it with someone. And she like brought this whole new light to Lupin that I had never seen before. And I was like, this dude is so fascinating now. His backstory. Lupin. I know, I love him so much now. And it's the same with Dumbledore. His backstory is just so fascinating, and why he is the way that he is, why he withholds information. I understand parts of the reason of why he does that. I don't think he's in a healthy place, to be completely honest, for withholding that information from people. I mean, you're right. He kind of needs therapy. He needs to like be able to be vulnerable with people and like tell people why he thinks certain things and confide in people, but he just doesn't, because he thinks he is a little bit smarter and wiser than a lot of people that he interacts with.
Yeah. Superiority.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but at this point, Dumbledore would be collecting at least information on the Horcruxes. Is this all going on behind the scenes still at this point?
No. Kind of. Like he's collecting. He doesn't know really about he probably has suspicions about the Horcruxes right now, but he doesn't really know why things are the way things are, because Voldemort hasn't really risen to power yet. So after like the second, he probably has some inklings because Voldemort didn't like people. There's still the lore that he's like lurking around, but really in the second book, that's kind of when Dumbledore starts to piece things together. So it is happening a little bit behind the scenes here, but he knows less than, he's not like piecing Horcruxes together right now. He's not like looking for Horcruxes.
Because that's one of the reasons that I think he doesn't speak so much, is because he has this whole elaborate plan behind the scenes that he doesn't even understand what he can say and what he can't say. How's Harry going to react to this? How will it be impacted if he knows? Well,
he is a master puppeteer.
Dumbledore?
Yeah. So like even in this series, in this exact moment, well, there's a line that someone speaks to Dumbledore at the very, very end of the books, that he was raising Harry like a pig for slaughter. And Dumbledore kind of admits that he had to, because this is the only way that Voldemort could be defeated is via Harry. And Dumbledore knew everything that he had to do. And one devastating part, and Dumbledore, a line that he says is that he didn't realize how difficult this was going to be because he actually came to care about Harry.
Yeah, like Dumbledore just cares about good defeating evil so much that he doesn't even care necessarily that Harry has to die.
But he came to care about that.
He like cares about the greater good more than Harry. But then he actually
that you would say that line. That's really fascinating. Because there's the whole side series off of this, the Fantastic Beasts one.
Is that like the current thing?
Yeah. Okay. So this in the books they talk about, he has this legendary duel with Grindelwald. Grindelwald was his love interest. And
what?
Yeah. So Dumbledore is J.K. Rowling, he's gay in the books, but it's not, you don't really know that.
Dumbledore?
Mm-hmm. You don't really know that at
Snape
all.
Snape and Lupin are gay. That's my hot take.
Whoa, that would be a really abusive relationship. That would be a really toxic relationship.
I think there's some like high school history there.
Interesting. So that's why they have such animosity against each other.
Because the moment that Snape brings Lupin his potion for the first time, I'm just like, this is like an old married couple. I just can't help it.
Do you know who Snape loves?
Harry's mom.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, good. So Snape's bi. Lupin might be. So is Lupin, because Lupin marries another person.
Yes. Tonks.
I'm actually really interested to hear all your theories about that too. But so he marries. Dumbledore has a relationship with Grindelwald, and Grindelwald is the second worst dark wizard. But Grindelwald is like a really deceptive, really good guy, and his whole motto was for the greater good. He was trying to do things that were really evil for the greater good of having wizards in charge of the world. So I love that you use the line for the greater good there, talking about Dumbledore, because Dumbledore, that line really appealed to him when he was growing up.
Whoa,
that was meta. That was wild.
Tapping into something there. We're like way beyond these chapters.
I know. We're gonna have lots of deep dives about Dumbledore too. I want to talk about Dumbledore more as we go on. because we're gonna get more tidbits of information. Like he pops up in all these. Toward the end of the book, that's when we're gonna have a really fun discussion on him. Because there's the Mirror of Erised chapter, which is one of my favorites, and I can't wait to talk about.
Yes.
And then the very end of the book, so we'll talk about him more as we go on. But a poltergeist is not a ghost. It is weird. It's the combined energy of the students that they form an entity. It's the combined mischievous energy of Hogwarts put into a entity, which is Peeves. I don't understand exactly what he is, but he's not a ghost because he has more substance to him. You can't like walk through Peeves like you can a ghost, like Casper the ghost. The rest of the cast. I love that.
How Peeves got frozen?
Yeah, he got.
What does that spell?
Nearly had this. Nick got petrified.
Petrified.
Yeah.
Wait, what were you saying about Casper?
I love that the Casper ghosts are what you
so
perceive.
Cute. I love Casper.
That's like new headcanon for me. I love that.
So interesting. Was that like a ceremony that they all like took their bad energies and created?
It might have been a ceremony. I think it was just like because there's such a concentrated amount of students there. Peeves couldn't exist anywhere else. He could not leave Hogwarts. And there's a side theory off of that they think Peeves is the poltergeist. He's like the collective energy of mischief. And some people think that Filch is the collective energy of like the rule keeping of the school. And Filch isn't an actual being, which is a wrong theory, I think. Filch is a squib, so it doesn't make sense.
I hate Filch too.
Filch is the worst. I hate him.
I don't understand Peeves. I'm still confused.
Oh, I didn't understand. I still don't understand him. I still don't know what the heck a poltergeist really is. It's weird, the description.
Is there actual knowledge about that in like the human world?
Yeah. It used to be like, not mythology. Poltergeist. Define. That's a movie. A scary movie.
Oh no.
I can't do scary movies.
Me neither. Because that almost feels like something that would have stemmed from reality.
Yeah.
Like someone in their human life.
Yeah.
Came up with that, or that was their true experience. I don't know.
This one, I mean, Google or the Oxford English Dictionary defines it as a ghost or other supernatural being supposedly responsible for physical disturbances such as loud noises and objects thrown around. Ghosts can't throw objects. They can't control objects. Peeves can. So that's the difference between Peeves and normal ghosts.
But normal, like ghosts in real life. Do you believe in ghosts? I believe in ghosts. Like, how do doors open and such?
Well, yeah, this is like ghosts in the wizarding world. I mean, ghosts in our world, they can open doors and, do all that kind of stuff.
I have a theory that like all the ghost encounters are like a glitch in the matrix and like the dimensions. And that like we're not supposed to be occurring at the same time and space. So like you'll see a door open and you're like get out of my house. Like, what are you doing? Like people will scare away the ghost. And it's like that person in their dimension like open their door, but they're seeing me. And they're like, oh my gosh,
so
who's this
creepy.
girl in my hallway?
Ew.
And then like we just kind of like expel each other from the situation and the dimensions like go back to normal.
Dude, that is so creepy.
Crazy, right? I'm just a ghost in someone else's universe.
That's a great line. I'm just a ghost in someone else's universe.
Yeah.
You gotta throw that in a poem. That's actually a great line.
That actually is good.
I know. Write that
Add
down.
that to the one-liners.
I'm just a ghost in someone else's universe.
Somebody had to have said that, but I'll claim.
I'm gonna text you this.
That's so tragic. I'm just a ghost.
That's a creepy understanding of ghosts, to be honest. But
how do you feel about it?
I think that's very creepy. I don't want to see any doors open now because I don't want to.
It's like what's the people with the button eyes? That girl Cordelia, something. Oh my gosh, my forgetfulness. Coraline.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. Like a weird like glitch in the matrix. Like it's not like that. But
dude, any of these weird. I'm so terrible when it comes to that stuff.
Me too. I am the absolute worst. I'm so scared of everything. I'm the biggest scaredy cat ever. I claim that. That's, I think, why I'm a Gryffindor. I've had this conversation with people, is that like I have to exercise bravery every day to do normal tasks.
To step out your door.
Yes. And some people can go a week or a month without having to be brave.
Yeah.
And there's like normal things that I have to do, and I have to like muster my bravery to go do these things. So I'm just so in the habit of being brave all the time. But I'm still a scaredy cat. But I'm like, I'm
but
brave.
you have to overcome that every
I'm
day.
like
That's why you're a
super
Gryffindor.
Yeah. Proud of
You're
myself.
so brave. You're so good. You're doing so good, Lizzy. That's incredible.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
That's actually really cool.
Because it's not linear. Everybody's got their own scale.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody has different fears.
Oh, keep me away from any scary movies, though. I can't deal with this.
Only scary movie I watched was Hereditary. Slept with the light on for a week.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime I didn't even see scary. I've really never seen a truly scary movie, but anytime I saw one, like even like Jurassic Park terrified me as a kid, to the point where I like couldn't sleep at night because I was like, a velociraptor is going to come up my stairs and eat me, you know?
Yeah.
And there's so many like weird little scary movies. There's the movie Signs is the scariest one to me, because there's a scene in there where this alien walks across. You see it for like 0.3 seconds, and it's haunted my dreams since I saw that. Like I think about that all the time, and I'm terrified of it. It's so scary.
I was watching Hereditary with like a bunch of my friends, and we all started like spread out on 3 couches. And then by the end of it, we were like 3 people deep in the same couch. And we were all like terrified out of our mind. And we got up and we were all like sweating like through our shirts. And it was disgusting. And it was like the greatest experience. And I will never, ever watch a scary movie again. That was exactly the experience I wanted. I got it. It can't be topped.
And you're good. Yeah. That's it.
Good.
I don't need to experience that anymore.
Undid all of the bravery I've been mustering.
No, now it takes bravery to get through every day after seeing that movie. So that's why you're a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But we have a Slytherin here. Tell me your impressions of Snape in this chapter.
Which chapter are we in?
8, the Potions Master.
I think he's very unfair.
Yeah.
That really irks me the most.
Yeah.
Is that I guess it's to give you the impression that Snape is with Voldemort and Snape hates Harry because Harry defeated Voldemort. And that's the main theme that I was getting. So that's immediately I was like, Snape's not bad.
Yeah.
But I think Snape's just like a jerk.
He really is. He is just a jerk. Flat out. And he's definitely not fair. Like this in this book, you just see how he kind of manipulates even the points. Like he does things exactly how he wants to do them. He has no real sense of justice.
Yeah, because I think isn't this like the first introduction to people like really messing with the points? Yeah. And I think he's weak. Like he comes across as greasy.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
They say that, and he's just like. He lets everything get to him. Yeah. Like, why are these little kids bothering you?
Yeah. Why is he taking all his frustrations out on an 11-year-old boy right now? Like, that's absurd.
Yeah. So I do not like him. Yeah. But I'm not like against him.
Yeah. He's a fascinating character. He obviously pops up more, so I'm excited to talk about him a little bit more.
Yeah. Me too.
The real question is, if you had a scar, where would you want it and what would you want it of?
Whoa. I feel like a cool like shark bite.
That'd be sick.
I don't know. My mom cut off my thumb when I was a kid, so it's like really weird, and like you can probably see it from here that it's like messed up.
That's cool though.
I don't know. I think it would be fun to have something where like you can actually see the teeth of like something that bit you. Yeah. I don't want to lose a limb, but like if I could have a nice little chomp.
Yeah, out of your leg, a little shark bite.
Yeah.
My sister used to live in California and she was surfed all the time. And one time she fell off her board and her surfboard gashed her in the leg, but it looks like a shark bite. And so she tells everyone it's a shark bite when it's really the surfboard just came and destroyed her leg and she needed like 20 stitches in her leg or something crazy.
I don't really have a lot of scars.
I have a lightning bolt scar on my head from my melanoma on the side of my head, and I still can't feel anything on the side of my head because of it. So I could tap on my head all I want, but I just can't feel anything because I got nerve endings taken out. But it's like literally you can't see it because of my hair, but it goes from here to here, and it just goes right there,
That's
all the way
pretty
down.
crazy.
It's pretty sweet.
Did you have like a graft?
No, I was lucky that I didn't have the graft. The graft would have messed it up. I had
You'd have been half
it was like a huge hole in the side of my head. My plastic surgeon slit up the top of my head all the way here, and then he slit down in the bottom, and then he flapped it together like stairs. It's wild, crazy,
Wow.
crazy times.
And now we wear sunscreen.
Yeah, that's why you wear sunscreen, kids. But I wore sunscreen all the time. It was a fluke accident. I'm not taking that crap.
Crazy. I don't know what to say.
I know. Final
I'm glad
chapter.
You're with us strong.
The midnight duel. They're all stupid idiots in this chapter. It's a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
But how do you like Neville? He's one of the main characters in this chapter specifically. How do you like him?
I like him.
What do you think of Draco?
I don't like him. This, I think, proves Draco's like a kiss up to the teachers, but will like sabotage the other students because he's doing it to gain rapport with the professors or with Filch, like telling Harry to come to the duel in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But then he's also like sabotaging Harry at the same time. So I don't like Draco. I didn't like him from the time they were getting their robes fitted. Like that's spoon fed to you to hate Draco, and I went along with that because I was like, yep, I agree. But Neville, I think, is like very lost in the world. I think like he's kind of like hoping to find something to cling on to, like he needs support. And I think he always had that in his grandma, like being with him all the time, but I think he's kind of off on his own. He doesn't know where to go, what to do. And I think he's also like finding his own morals because like he stands up against.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cute.
Yeah. And it's like really wholesome, but you're also like, okay, step aside.
I know.
Get out of here. But I don't know. I love Neville. I relate to him because I'm also so clumsy. So I'm with you. I'm right here, buddy.
Well, if you're clumsy, you're more of a Tonks than a Neville. Neville is kind of clumsy, but he's a little he's just too unconfident here. What's the word for unconfident? Unconfident. We'll just say unconfident.
I'm with it. I would agree.
I slightly disagree. I don't think
I thought Neville was like your favorite.
He is. He's absolutely my favorite, but I don't think his grandma was a support system. I think his grandma was the thing that was keeping him in the ground. Keeping him it was keeping him paralyzed almost. His parents were his real support system, and his grandma was this is going to be an extreme. His grandma was probably a somewhat similar version of Petunia to Harry. She was probably a little bit annoyed with Neville that Neville was essentially the cause of Neville's parents' death. And so I don't think she was a great support to him for those specific reasons, because she was probably had a little bit of resentment toward him and didn't really support him in the way that Neville needed to be supported. So she was very rash with Neville and very like, like an eagle throwing you out of the nest. Like the way that Neville realized he was magical was he got thrown out of a window and he bounced back up. That's insane to me. Like Neville was slightly abused when he was a kid. And it made Neville really endearing because you get to see his character journey. But he's one of my favorite characters because he comes to that on his own terms in his own way. And it's not really via the help of like his grandma. It's via the help of his friends.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think Neville's friendship growth and Hermione's friendship growth are kind of comparable.
Yeah,
in
it's
that
so
way.
good.
Yeah.
I know. I'm going to talk about Neville all the time. He's one of my favorites.
What does he look like?
Just like a little nerdy, pudgy boy, you know? What does Draco look like to you?
Draco's Draco, like
Just a grease ball.
blonde, slick back hair.
Typical preppy kid.
Yeah, and then like Crab and Goyle, I feel like are pretty You get that.
Yeah, you understand it.
You get what they're supposed to look like.
That's pretty much all I got in this one. You have anything else? Anything else in these chapters?
Which chapters are we doing again?
They were the journey to platform 9 3/4, the sorting hat, where they get sorted, the potions master, where they meet Snape, and the midnight duel, where they learn how to fly, and they have a midnight duel.
So I have one note that I wrote that like about Harry's dreams. Because does he have a dream in these chapters?
He does, yeah.
Because it's like his dreams are like a portal to another world.
Yeah.
Or like another time.
Yeah.
He didn't have those dreams at the Dursleys.
He did. That was actually the second chapter when he wakes up. He wakes up because he sees a flash of green light, I think.
So I feel like they're kind of...
Or no, actually interesting.
Because the dream always stops at the same spot, I thought. Like he has the recurring dream of like, and then he wakes up.
Yeah, and that's... Yeah, well, that's kind of the flash of green light. That's like where it ends. Anytime there's a flash of green light, he wakes up. The dream that he has in the beginning of this book is he was dreaming that he was riding in a motorcycle and like with a giant or something like that. And it was a very pleasant dream. He really loved that dream. So he's like literally having flashbacks via that.
But I think it also like his dreams are heightened with proximity to the Wizarding World to Voldemort himself.
Because his mind is going crazy because he is a Horcrux. So he's like seeing the things that Voldemort's seeing at heightened points of Voldemort's anger or whatever it is.
And he has the dream about the turban.
Yeah.
Which is like really weird.
Yeah.
Because that is like foreshadowing.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I don't know. Like that's just crazy. Because that is like essentially what happens. And that made me think about book 3, which I'm only up to book 3 with my rereading, when Dumbledore's saying something about the time turner with Hermione, and he's like says something about how like just something about time in general, about like how you can change it, or it's not what you think it is, or like some things happen multiple ways, or like the outcome can never be sure. And it just like reminded me when I reread Quirrell's like turban dream that I was like, this is literally what happens.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Like, why would you have a dream that predicts something like that?
Okay, I think it's almost like...
Did Voldemort place that?
No, I don't think so. Maybe, actually. I think that's actually a fascinating question. I think it was just like... It's almost prepping you for what's to come. It is foreshadowing in a way, but there's good foreshadowing and there's bad foreshadowing. And I think, I don't know, actually, I've never really thought about that before.
See?
Fascinating question.
New ideas.
I know, new ideas coming up. That's why I love these. You read this book 20 times and
I have a Quidditch new idea.
Yeah, what?
A new idea about Quidditch.
Okay.
No, it's not that time yet.
Oh, Quidditch is the next one. But I guarantee
it is.
Cliffhanger. No, Quidditch is... No, yeah, we'll talk about Quidditch in the next podcast.
Almost guarantee you that you've never had like a Quidditch.
I've thought about Quidditch more than you know.
And I'm sure I have a thought that hasn't crossed your mind.
Interesting. All right. So that's a little cliffhanger for the next podcast. But thanks for joining us on this podcast. Or thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
Second time readers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
What's your sign off?
See ya.
Peace. Later.
Peace.